I worked here 3 years and had a great 3 years here and grateful for my time here. But the thing that I'm most grateful for, and this is real talk now, the thing that I'm most grateful for, and I was around some great players and coaches and teams when I was here, but the thing that I'm most grateful for is that coming here to Oklahoma led me to Columbia, fellas. And Coach Tanner, who just got in here and danced with y'all, all right, took a chance on me as an assistant coach here. And to come back to South Carolina, that was my dream job because I knew what this place could be. And my time here at Oklahoma opened that door for me to be able to come to South Carolina, which is the only place I've ever wanted to coach, man. So I appreciate you guys as well.
That's awesome. Welcome back to SEC This Morning, presented by Yellowwood. The man joining us right now is the man who closed the door. It might have been open the door back in the day to coaching. Closed the door on Oklahoma is Shane Beamer. Shane, you and I had an opportunity to catch up just a couple of moments before the game. What was that emotion like, you know, when you walked back onto that field before kickoff?
No, it was emotional. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. Just the fact that, you know, as I said to so many people, I have so many great memories of my time in Norman, personally and professionally. And, you know, I mean, it was a little bit different because I've gone back to other places as a coach that I previously had coached, whether it be Georgia Tech and Tennessee as a GA or whatnot. But this was the first time I'd ever gone back to somewhere where it was the preceding job before the one that I'm in currently. So just a lot of memories. And then there's not many players that are still at Oklahoma. There's a few that were there when I were there, but there's a lot of, former players at Oklahoma that are now GAs or analysts on the Oklahoma staff with Coach Venables, and just getting to see a lot of them. And we had a great 3 years there because of the great people, and it was really fun reconnecting with a lot of those people and being back at a place that I've got a lot of great memories at.
Coach, I don't think a lot of those people that you may have relationships with there were very happy with the way you welcomed to the stadium, because like 5.5 minutes in, it's 21-0 and complete dominance on the line of scrimmage. This is the second week in a row I felt you guys kind of set the tone defensively. You had 5 sacks in the first half of this one, 4 sacks in the first half of the Alabama game. How much you guys talk about going out, being very intentional about how you set the tone early in a ball game?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we always want to, everybody talks about starting fast, and we always want to, without a doubt. And, we knew with the Alabama game, it was going to be critical to get off to a good start. They were coming off a tough loss. We were coming off a tough loss, and we didn't. We went down 14-0 on the road at Bama. And then Saturday was the same thing. Oklahoma coming off a tough loss to Texas, and we were coming off the loss to Alabama, and wanted to certainly get off to a good start, especially on the road. I mean, it's just so hard in this league when you go into these stadiums on Saturdays. But I think the biggest thing for us, Chris, was just going into this game. Oklahoma was, I believe, 7th in the country in takeaways. Their defense was. We were right behind them at 12. 2 really good defenses. We knew that whoever won the turnover battle was probably going to win the game. So we talked all week about not just winning it, but dominating it. And we were flying around defensively. We created 4 turnovers. I think we knocked the ball out 4 other times that we didn't get back. So that was very intentional to play that way and attack like we did defensively. And then credit our offense, too, for not turning the ball over against a defense that has made a living on takeaways.
Trust me, before the game, I talked to Joe Castiglione, the athletic director. He talked about, the opportunity at hiring you back in the day, and he was not too happy when he saw it 21-0. And, I mean, it was crazy. At that point, we wondered, would there be a change made? Okay, Brent Venables decided to put in Jackson Arnold. What was your reaction when he decided to make that switch?
I wasn't surprised, and it's something that we had talked about during the week as a staff. When you're looking at it, we know that they had struggled on offense a little bit against Texas, and they needed to get the offense going. We knew that. So we talked about it all week, myself and Clayton White and our defensive staff. Okay, what'll be some of the answers that they may try? They might try and play with a little bit more tempo, and they did that. They went up tempo a little bit more. And then we also talked about there may be a time where they put the other quarterback back in. You never know. So we were prepared for both of them, and really, it really didn't change our plan. I mean, both those quarterbacks that Oklahoma have, they're both athletic guys that can run and make plays with their feet and make plays with their arm, and we knew that. So it wasn't like we had a two different plans for both quarterbacks. We had the same game plan, and that was to, if we were in man coverage, we certainly wanted to be very aggressive against their receivers, and in zone coverage, we wanted to, keep them in front of us and do a great job disguising, and then rely on our front four to get after the quarterback. And we were able to do all of those things for the most part.
Coach, overshadowed in all of this by the great defensive performance is an offense that I think is starting to figure things out. Dow Loggins and what he's doing with LaNorris Sellers seems like there's some confidence there. We're just a couple weeks removed from you guys only scoring 3 points against Ole Miss's defense. Like, what's changed in the last 2 weeks to allow that offense to start to flourish a little bit more?
Yeah, certainly it starts with LaNorris, and you're exactly right. He gets more and more comfortable. You think about it going into that. Going into the Ole Miss game, he started the first game as a quarterback ever against Old Dominion. Against Kentucky, there was a chunk of that game in the first half that he didn't play because he got knocked out with a leg injury. And then the very next game is LSU. He gets knocked out and doesn't play the whole second half. And then he doesn't play at all against Akron. So when we went into that Ole Miss game, he was very inexperienced as a starting quarterback. He got experience versus Ole Miss. He was more poised and more confident against Alabama. And then he did a great job Saturday. I mean, he won perfect, but he was very poised, very confident. Got us out of some negative plays with his athleticism. Made some nice throws on third down. So I think it starts with LaNorris as he continues to get more and more comfortable and confident with what he's doing. But we know we need to be better. I mean, I think you give credit to Oklahoma's defense, but I think we only had 69 yards of offense in the second half, and that's not going to cut it. And we had opportunities to make plays, and we didn't. And we had some, self-inflicted things as well. So we're going to have to be more efficient offensively these last 5 games coming up after this bye week. But very, very confident that we will be because of the progress that our quarterback continues to make, and he needs to continue to improve, and we all need to be better around him, coaches and players.
It feels like he's more comfortable when he kind of slides out of the pocket, and we see him now making some of those throws off platform, which are fantastic. You talk about the 5 games, 4 of them are going to come against ranked opponents. I mean, no rest for this SEC schedule. What is the ceiling of South Carolina football right now after a big victory like that going into a bye?
Yeah, no, the bye week comes at a great time. We're very, confident, and we have been all season. I mean, I know record-wise we're 4-3, but this is a team we're very, very confident, and we know that we've got 2 losses right now to top 10 teams, or what were top 10 teams. I don't know what the rankings are right now with Alabama and LSU, but we lost to those 2 teams by a total of 5 points. So we feel like we can go toe-to-toe with anybody in this league, but at the same time, I'd say a lot of teams probably feel that way in this league. There's just so much depth and so much talent from top to bottom. So the ceiling's high, but at the same time, we know that we've got to play well in all 3 phases. But we're excited because as good as Saturday was and what an awesome performance by our team, we can be so much better too in all 3 phases. And it's going to be critical that we get better this week during the off week. And then we've got a huge challenge coming in here next Saturday night with Texas A&M.
Coach, I know you're a very focused guy right now on your team, but you mentioned before we came on about you're a fan of the SEC in general. I mean, when you look around this league right now, what excites you about where this conference is and some of the storylines as it relates to being here in the middle of the season?
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much depth and parity for sure. As always, just the environments that we get to go into every single Saturday, and it's cool with the 2 new additions with Oklahoma and Texas coming into the conference. I mean, I can't tell you how many friends of mine here in Columbia or Gamecocks that I know had that trip to Norman, Oklahoma circled because they had never been to Oklahoma before and they wanted to go to a game. And we had a lot of Gamecocks out there on Saturday to get to see another SEC venue for the first time. So that part of it's really, really cool. And then, just the great teams. I mean, it's the general manager from the New York Giants was at the game in Norman on Saturday, and then after our game, he was flying to Austin for the Texas-Georgia game, and he and I were talking before the game. I mean, this league is just it's like the NFL, and that goes without saying. I mean, people know that when you just look at the NFL draft every single year. But I just mean the quality of talent on every team and every single. I think I said it in the press conference after the game. I mean, every Sunday when we come in and start getting ready for work on the next opponent, and I start watching the other team's defense. I mean, every week there's first round draft picks all over the front seven of every team that we play. And you're like waiting for the Sunday where there's not an NFL guy, like multiple guys all over the front seven. And before I jumped on with you guys, I mean, I'm sitting here in my office watching Texas A&M's defense, and they got NFL guys all over the front seven. And Oklahoma plays Ole Miss this week, and we know what Ole Miss has. So just that, how many great defenses they are, and great players in this league, and great venues. It's the best conference in America, and it's a challenge, but it's so much fun to be a part of because you got to literally be at your best every single Saturday.
You just cut the promo for SEC football. I love it. How about cutting a rug? Did you see Ray Tanner in the run that he had? I mean, he was celebrating. I mean, you obviously were happy, but Ray, you think he wanted to get into the mix? Were you telling him to get in there?
Yeah, I don't think I gave him a choice. That was a pretty aggressive shove that I gave him. Get into the mix, but happy for him. I was pretty impressed with his moves, to be honest with you. But he was in the locker room and he was certainly excited, and it was a really cool moment for obviously me to be back in Norman and be in that visiting team locker room and one, just to see the joy on our players' faces, celebrating a win like that on the road. But happy for Coach Tanner too. I mean, he took a chance on me when I was an assistant coach at Oklahoma. And, my last time really being in Norman was obviously when I was an assistant coach. And Coach Tanner called me on a Saturday night and offered me the job to come back here to South Carolina and then plane flew out the next day and picked me up and brought me back to Columbia, and away we went. So I'm just so grateful for him giving me this opportunity here at South Carolina. And that was pretty cool for him to be able to be in that locker room and celebrate with us also. He's a great resource and supporter for our program and around our players all the time. And I know they appreciate him. And he did a good job out there. I was impressed.
Coach, as a player, we're so used to being critiqued. Every single practice, every single rep, coach is watching, giving feedback. Every single play in a game is being reviewed. We don't get that on the television side. It's hard to know whether you're doing a good job or not, but I know that you went back and watched the pregame of SEC Now Live. Can you critique what you saw from PB on site, maybe some good things and some things he needs to work on?
Yeah.
I thought he was awesome. I heard about some of the rental car troubles at the Oklahoma City airport and told things like that. So he was able to overcome things that you can't control. So that says a lot about his professionalism and what a pro he is. But I was impressed. I watched it last night at home. I watched the TV copy of the game with Tom and Alyssa and Cole. They did a great job. And then I'd also recorded the pregame show with PB. So my son wanted to watch that. And I thought he did a really good job. Hosting a pregame show by yourself, I've never done it, but I can't imagine that's easy when you're the solo host, which he did a great job of. And he had some characters for guests. I spent time around Barry Switzer and I spent time around Bob Stoops, and they are entertaining for sure. And I thought Peter did a great job of interviewing both those guys. So he gets an A+ from me, that's for sure.
My man, looking at film, and I got to carry Sir Big Spur, and so I didn't know how heavy Sir Big Spur was. That thing is huge.
Sir Big Spur, and then you don't want to squeeze too hard because you never know what that thing is going to do either. So I've done it a few times, but I'm very, very, very careful when I do. So that's another one, performing under pressure on that one also.
I said, grade it out. Pro Football Focus will give me some good numbers out there. Thank you for asking that. Shane, always,
Thanks, man.
You're a great fan of the show, and we appreciate the success that you have and giving us a lot to talk about, all right?
You got it. Thanks for having me on, and hope to do it again soon.
There it is.
Good, man.
Shane Beamer.